All right, looks like we're live. So, okay, so today we are here with Sifu Åmmuåakhu. Sorry, I can't say your name. Sorry, sorry, Sifu. Could you pronounce your name for me real quick?
Åmmuåakhu.
Åmmuåakhu. That's so cool. Yeah, could you share the origin of that name one more time with me? It's like Egyptian or something like that. Could you share that with us?
Sure. The name is ancient Egyptian, also known as Kemetic, because the people did not call themselves Egyptians. They called themselves Kam'o, which means enlightened black people. And so the name is that origin. The name means he who is a patient and submissive follower of the enlightened ones.
Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah. That's
yes,
really
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah. So Sifu, how did you get started in your spiritual journey, and how did you get into practicing iron crotch and stuff like that, which I want to share later in the video. So how did you get started in spirituality and Qigong and all this kind of stuff?
Okay, I'm a member of the Lucid Society, which is a Pan-African spiritual organization, which is based on the teachings of ancient Egypt. And I'll say Kemet from now on. So that happened. I read the books, visited them in 1993, and went to my first retreat, 1996. And became a full-fledged member in 1998. And so then I boarded to Bermuda. And at the same time, 1996, as I was introduced to meditation and, cultivating our divinity, I was introduced to Qigong. So 1996 is the first time I dealt in doing Qigong.
That's awesome.
So 1996. After that, okay.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's a really awesome path that you have undertaken. So let's share screen real quick and take a look at your iron crotch video. I'm going to go to your TikTok page and share screen. You have a very fascinating thing that you do with the iron crotch and stuff like that. So let's take a look at that real quick. We are on Sifu's TikTok page right here. So let me play this video real quick. Since it's on TikTok, I'm not really sure if I can make it big or not from the desktop perspective. But could you describe what this practice is right here? I hopefully the audience can see it. What exactly is iron crotch, and what is the purpose of this particular training?
Okay, all training is to help you with cultivating your divinity. That's how we look at in a Lucid Society. We look at all things that your spirit came to earth, your consciousness came to earth, is to realize your divinity. So all these practices, but the health and the physical benefits, it has so many uses. It strengthens your kidneys. That's one of the foremost things that it does, because the testicles is your external kidneys. If a person wants to stimulate the kidneys in the most direct way, one of the ways will be to tap, squeeze, and massage the kidneys. And this way we attach weights, because it's a fast and you can only hit your testicles so hard. So you start off with 5 pounds and you build up. This is the most I ever lifted. It's 175 pounds. I weighed about 115 at this time. I was 50 years old. Right now I'm 57.
Wow.
So yeah. It also, you can feel the chi go up your back. It stimulates your immune system. It makes your semen real thick and very plenty. The volume is out of this world. So your hormones go through the roof. Your testosterone goes through the roof. They talk about in some Chinese books that the highest quality of semen, and we're not just talking about semen, we're talking about the things that's in the semen also. So you're talking about your zinc, you're talking about the hormones, you're talking about your sperm, you're talking about all those nutrients that are in that. You're also talking about the gene, which is the hormones, the gene. They talk about that the highest quality is the thick stuff, not the stuff like water. So this is the highest form of that. And it makes we're all adults here, so I could talk. It makes your pre-cum look like you had an orgasm. That's how much it is, and you haven't had the orgasm. And that's a whole nother story. But that's what the Qigong focusing on. So it's possible that a person can be on dialysis. I don't know of anybody, but I know of people. I know it directly stimulates kidneys. I heard of instances where people had impotence and regained that back from this practice. I know people that have lost weight from this practice, especially in the midsection. I know people that had prostate problems. Of course, men, all these are men. And they, stopped getting up to use the bathroom nights. So I swing the weight and I also lift the weight. So, yeah. So, yeah, I swung 25 pounds over 900 times. And this is one set. This is not like, because I know people be like, oh, how many reps it took? No, one set, 900 reps with 25 pounds. That means nonstop, because I know how people's mind play tricks on them. So, if I say one set of 6 lifting weights, they know it's 6 reps, one set. But if I say one set, 900 reps, 25 pounds, then with 50 pounds, I did 645 pounds. That took me 20 minutes to complete. So, yeah, so that's swinging nonstop 50 pounds for 20 minutes. I've lifted a total of 175, one rep, just lift it off the ground. So I haven't been any further since then. I was taught it in 2009 in our temple.
I'm so fascinated. I'm so fascinated by this. I mean, like it's how many people, to your knowledge, practice this stuff? I mean, like I don't, I
go ahead and continue.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me, Sifu?
Yeah, I can hear you. Most men think that, like they're doing, like when I tell them about it, they act like they're lifting the weight. Ah, you do that? That's so painful, man. Don't say that. I don't know if people have bad childhood upbringing or whatever, but there's not many people that practice it. It's
really?
I learned in 2009 by the Chinese gentleman that is based in California, Grandmaster 2. As far as I know, well, there's not many people that do it. And yeah, he's more. I would think more Chinese know about it than anybody, but a lot of Chinese don't know about it. So to me, it's not a lot of people that know of, and if they know about it, it's one thing to know about it. It's another thing to do it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
certainly.
And just to say this way, I have more fun.
Yeah. I mean, obvious question, dumb question, perhaps, but I mean, does it hurt when you first start this practice? I mean, it's gotta hurt pretty bad, right?
5 pounds. You start off with 5 pounds. So at first it hurts. And not like anything, after a while, it's conditioning. It's conditioning. So
Wow.
when you start first lifting weights, that much stressed, and same thing that happens here. Things get broken down, microscopic tears, and when they build back stronger. So after a while, it becomes stronger. But yes, it does hurt a little bit. It helps when you have a high pain threshold, but after a while, your balls become iron. They become hard. So you can take a kick. Like I've showed tapping through my clothes. I was showing one of my students a tapping exercise. So I was doing it through my pants, and he was like, Sifu, were you really tapping? You wasn't tapping your leg or your hand? So I laughed. I said, no, I was tapping the testicles, because my hand was way out. And unknowns to me, it's natural for me to be tapping like that because it doesn't hurt me. But to him, it was like, So yeah, you feel the energy go up your head. I know other people that felt it in the third eye. So it is Qigong. It does strengthen your pelvic floor. Yeah. And the question will come up, does it make things bigger? Yeah, it does. I mean,
wait.
I'm not trying to be funny here, but if I do bicep curls, bigger.
I'm sorry to ask such a weird question, Sifu. So by doing this practice, can your I hate to say this, use this word, but can your testicles or can your penis get bigger? Am I correct on that, Sifu?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you heard me, but they do get the testicles don't get as big because you don't want your testicles to swell like that. You don't want them to test itself. You don't want them to swell. So you limit the amount of weight on that. But they do get squeezed. Everything gets squeezed. So yeah, you do get bigger. You do get more blood donor. You don't have no problems with circulation. No problems whatsoever.
Wow.
And then just because you gotta know how to use.
I mean, Sifu, there's a lot of insecure men out there who maybe have a struggle with their insecurities when it comes to that area, with their junk. If this is a revolutionary practice, I mean, for all the insecure men out there who could perhaps want to improve their size and stuff. I mean, this is really truly revolutionary. Yeah, I mean, it's wow. That's all I can say right now is just wow. So yeah, well, let's talk a little bit more about. Sorry, what did you say, Sifu?
Yeah, it's built more for health than for making things bigger. Let's just look at it. Which one? You could have something big, but if you have prostate problems, if you have impotent problems, size does not matter. You know, don't matter how big the ocean is. If the ocean is polluted, you don't want to get in it. So we're talking about quality. What is the quality? Are you got blood flow down there? You know, and are you got prostate problems? Because the penis does more than sex. It does more, you know, you got to get rid of waste. So how's your kidneys? Are your kidneys expelling waste like it should? Is it functioning like it should? Or is your, you know, is your waste full of ammonia or protein because your kidneys are not functioning like they should? So that's the primary goal. It's just that the other stuff is just a good side effect.
Wow.
You know,
yeah. That's this is
I'll let it all. That's how it was with my wife, you know, and I'm using my hands. So you can imagine what I'm using, you know. I mean, people might be like, huh? Yes, it's what you think. You know, that, you know, one time my wife was, you know, you attached with a cloth, and the cloth attaches to the hook that lifts the weights, which is attached. The other hand is attached to the shaft. So one day she was like, "Oh, pulling on a cloth." I said, "No, pull it, pull it." And I had my hands on my kidneys, and I pulled her from the kitchen to the bedroom. So, you know, it the strength is there. The strength is there, and that wasn't even, I wasn't even lifting 175 pounds. You know, I remember the first time I lifted 50 in 2009 or 2010, and I felt the energy. First time I lifted, I felt the energy go right up my back. And when I lift up to 50, that's when I felt it. When I lift up to 50, I felt the energy go right up my back. And I said, man, I could have lifted more than that, but I was being conservative because it's my first time lifting that much of weight. You know, and I brought my wife in to be a, you know, I needed somebody to verify just in case somebody said something. I wanted my wife to be, you know, evidence that I lift 50 pounds. So before that, she was like, "Ah, oh, spurs this, spurs that." I said, "Look, I don't want to hear all that." She came in, I lifted the weight. She walked out, didn't say anything. So it was funny. So I'm a small guy. I'm, you know, 120 pounds now, 5'3". Don't judge a book by its cover. I have a lot of chi. I have a lot of chi. And
that's awesome.
people still get caught up in size, y'all. I mean, Bruce Lee was a small guy, but look what Bruce Lee could do, you know? So size does matter in a lot of ways, but some ways it don't. So yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Sifu, so do you do like, you know, traditional type of Qigong where you do movements and stuff like that and meditation and visualization, things like that? Is that part of your training as well?
Yeah, I mean, I am in the Associate Society. We do all of that. We do the meditation, we do Qigong. So I do have Qigong. I do have a teacher that lives in Florida, also outside the Associate Society. My teacher is Dr. Excuse me, Grandmaster George Love, who was who came in contact with his master about in the 80s, who was a gentleman, and his last name was Lee also, Master Lee. I saw a video you done recently about somebody named Lee. His name was Master Lee, and he was put in prison during the time of the Cultural Revolution, Chairman Mao, and like a 5-foot sow, and was beaten and flogged for about 10 years. It weren't until I heard a story. Chairman Mao, I don't know, not many people know the story. Chairman Mao was trying to bring all the Western stuff. So it's this whole thing about Chinese and people don't like Chinese. Forget all that. Chairman Mao was trying to bring the Western stuff to China. So he was trying to get rid of everything that was Chinese. Unfortunate. When he found out that my teacher's teacher, which would be my grandmaster, knew the stuff, he put him in prison. They were killing people, and so when Chairman Mao's general got sick from cancer, I think it was, and Western medicine could not cure him. This is the story most people don't know about. He went looking for a Qigong master, and he got a Qigong master, and he was able to cure him in 3 months. And then he brought back all the Chinese stuff. So I'm not saying now things have changed now in China in terms of you can't do, Qigong publicly like that. The whole Falun Gong thing, the whole political thing.
I got the Falun Gong
made it political. Yeah. So my teacher was let out of prison. He came to the West. He met my teacher. Of course, my teacher was black. So I asked him, you must have been the only black person and male at that in the class. Because when he came back to the class, my grandmaster, Master Lee, said, you need to come stay with me. Oh, you're back? He said, yes. So that verifies, okay, he went hard to recognize you're a black man and a man at that, because most women are into health than men. So he came back and he said, you got to come stay with me. So he ended up staying with him. And in the end, he ended up inheriting his system. Then I met my teacher. I was pretty much advanced when he met me, because from the Asura Set Society, since 1996, I've been doing Qigong. I met my Blue Dragon medical Qigong teacher, Master George Love. Well, he's a grandmaster, but to me, he's my master in terms of lineage. He's my master. And I met him about 2013. And since then, he made me a master. I've gone the farthest in his system. So I do traditional. I do the movements without weights. Trying to find the liver, trying to find the spleen, gathering chi, working on the. Blue Dragon works on like what's it? Like 41 meridians, 42 meridians. Yeah, we're talking about the 10, 14, the 12 regular, the 8 extra, and some, I think they're called diversion channels, and the tendomuscular channels. So all in all, it reaches to about 41 or 42 meridians in all that the Blue Dragon system works on. So the gentleman that was imprisoned in China and came to the West, that's the system that he brought to the West that I do today, outside of the Iron Crotch Qigong. And I also do the Qigong from the Asura Set Society. That's my foundation.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for that explanation. Sifu, let's talk about Qigong a little bit. We initially came in contact with one of the YouTube videos that I shared from Ken Kyokugaku, but I believe that's how it's pronounced. But then we started talking, and we started talking about Chang and Qigong and Mo Pai and stuff like that. You mentioned to me that you had a conversation with Chang. Could you explain your experience speaking to Chang on Facebook a little bit with me?
Okay. Um, it wasn't a verbal exchange; it was a text exchange. Um, I don't quite can't remember how I came across him. I'm always searching, always looking. So I might have been looking for him, and somehow I came across him. Maybe one of my friends, because I did find. I don't know if I introduced him. Well, forget that. So anyway, I had a talk with him on his page, and he just dropped some information, just a slight exchange, like, "Oh, that's pretty good," because I told him how I used to have heat in my tenting. I could feel the heat in my tenting. So he said, "Oh, that was like a good place to start." And he talked about some things, how everything's to do with the breath. Um, and I didn't really push it because I saw other guys pushing it, the whole thing about the Mo Pai. I saw other guys pushing it over, wanting to learn, and he kind of sidestepping it. I felt that energy. And I understand now why he kind of sidestepped, because at that time he was dealing with an illness. And it was less than 6 months. It might have been 3 months that I was on the page that he passed in, I think, January 2020, just before, one of the last thing he has on his page that he put up was talking about COVID, how COVID was just coming about. So, yeah. Yeah, and it is his page. It is him. And he talks about some things to do with Mo Pai, how Mo Pai deals with the 72 chakras, which is, that's the Indian term. It's 17, he says 72 meridians. And he just touches on some of it, but he don't go much into detail. Because I understand, if you're on your so-called deathbed, why are you going to start teaching students if you know you're going to check out soon? And probably you have to show them and everything, and you're exhausted. And so you see people come on afterwards and say things, and people's like, Master John Chang passed in January 2020, and it's a memoriam up there showing that he passed. So yeah. So yeah, not much people, maybe not many people thought, but yeah, the gentleman right behind you there, yeah, that's the gentleman there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's a truly extraordinary story. I didn't even know it was possible that he had. I didn't even know that he had a Facebook page until yesterday. So thank you for letting me know that. That's certainly a wonderful story. Sifu. So, you mentioned to me, we had a brief conversation, I believe 2 days ago. Yeah, so you mentioned to me that you can also emit electric chi, much like John Chang. Could you explain how you got to do stuff like that? And also, yeah, could you explain your experiences with training Qigong and stuff like that as well?
Well, I don't do what John Chang does. In fact, I kind of sidestep that, because I was involved I had a gentleman that was teaching me, and we kind of butt heads. But I came to the conclusion that I am involved in a society that's majority Christian. And people look at me doing Qigong. People look at me like, okay, I tell them, brothers, about the weights, and they feel like, like they're hanging the weights from that past coast. How can I use Qi like that to help people? How they are going to accept me if I'm doing Qi that can shock them? No disrespect to people that do that. That's beautiful. They can do that. That's wonderful. They can do that. But in the society that I live in, and I do admit Qi, but it's not going to shock you. I've had people complain about the heat that they feel for me. Oh, you didn't tell me that. You know, so imagine if I shock them and how would they react to it, or they'll be open. I have had people tell me no, that they don't want me to get rid of the pain. And I tell them, look, I'm not going to touch you, because, you know, and they tell me no. You know, so I've been in situations where people don't even believe I can get rid of the energy without touching them. And then when I do, it's a big surprise. And some people don't want it. And people bring, oh, you think you're Jesus? People have said that to me. So imagine if I would have shocked them. How would people look at me? No,
Right.
I decided, you know, like I said, to those, no disrespect, if they want that, that's beautiful. I wanted it at first too. But then I looked at my environment and what I'm in her. No, I can't do that. You know, so I decided not to take that path. If it was a way I could turn it down, but I wasn't given anything where I could turn it down. Like, is there a resistor? Like a, you know, a variable resistor, like I could turn down the sound. Can I turn down the chi? You know, I saw Master Zoe, the gentleman that does the fire, you know, puts heat in the foil. He puts the foil in water, then puts it on people. Maybe that's a way of turning it down. They, you know, you're seeing that gentleman who has the fire and puts the fire, I think, in his hand or in his mouth, and does things with the fire. And he does the Qigong where he lights up the foil on people. You know, he rests on people's body, but he dips it in water first. So maybe that's one way of cooling. But I didn't want to go to that. So I do emit chi, but I don't emit chi like John Chang. I don't know if you, when you watch the video of John Chang, it showed a child and how he was applying chi to the child. And the child was screaming and the mother was there to console him. So I didn't want to do that. I've seen expressions from people that got the electrical chi and their face was like, they were like, looked like they were bracing themselves. They were tense. Or when they did get it, it was, you know? So, and I heard a practitioner say this in so many words, painfully shocking. And like I said, I didn't want to do that. And I'm not in an environment to do that. So yeah. So I came out of that. But I do emit chi. And I have used my chi in a lot of other ways that I haven't seen people use chi. And I have used my meditation in a lots of ways that I haven't seen anybody use meditation.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that explanation.
Yes.
So Sifu, you know, a lot of people say that, you know, Qigong practices are very dangerous and stuff. They could have some potential bad side effects and stuff like that. Your system, the Blue Lotus Qigong system, is it a safe practice? And you know, is there any potential adverse side effects that can potentially occur if you do this practice?
Okay, I do. My system's not Blue Lotus; it's Blue Dragon.
Oh, sorry, Blue Dragon.
Blue
I meant, yeah.
Dragon. The color blue is associated with the kidneys. No, there's no side effects that I know of. And I haven't been told anybody about the you know, the when chi goes diverts. I haven't had that. I don't know of anybody that's had that situation. You know, I'm sure that can happen in a lot of systems if people don't do what they want to do, for instance. You know, do certain things that they're not supposed to do. I'm sure if a person mixed certain herbs or certain drugs with Qigong, they would, okay, I followed everything, but, you know, what did you do this? Oh, I smoked this, so I shot this. Well, that's why, you got this, because you mixed the Qigong with that. I know somebody that meditated and smoked a spliff and wound up waking up in the hospital because the meditation they done should not have been mixed with ganja. And the time of that ganja was not like the ganja today. I'm from Bermuda, right? So we say ganja, right?
Right.
So, it's not like the ganja today. So, and that was way back. And they were, doing a thing in a park. I don't know if they did they did the marijuana after the ganja after the meditation. And next thing you know, they're waking up in the hospital because they mixed the two. And so Qigong and meditation can be powerful. And some of these things should not be mixed with mind-altering drugs, because that's what they all are. Even alcohol is mind-altering. People forget how they got home. People doing things that they normally don't do because they are mind-altering. They have effects on the mind. They have effects on the synapses, in the brain. So, but I don't know of anybody that's had divergence of Qi and Blue Dragon, following things like they should be followed.
That's great to hear.
I have students underneath me. I have Go ahead.
How many students do you currently have, and how many people are you teaching right now? And do you teach online or do you teach in person? Could you explain that a little bit?
Sure. I've been teaching since 1996. I know you didn't ask me that, but I've been teaching since 1996. When I had to bring it here, I had to teach the people that are involved in the group with me. I teach online. I teach in person and online. 4 people I'm teaching right now. I just started in May, so it's very small. It's open to the public, open to the world, but I just haven't pursued it in terms of advertisement like that. I've had students in Netherlands, students in Trinidad. I'm situated in Bermuda, so I have students in Bermuda, states like DC, New York. I have student in England. I have student in Canada, California, Florida, Mississippi, Arkansas, Philadelphia, one in Africa. So yeah, I have, and I go further than just Qigong. I've been a vegan for 30 years. I do homeopathy, which a lot of people don't know that homeopathy is Qi medicine, because you're going down to the microscopic thing. How do you take something like poison ivy and ingest it, and it cures what poison ivy does in a macro dose? You take it in a microscopic dose, meaning you can't see the dosage. So it's prepared homeopathically in a microscopic dose, and then you take it and it cures what it does in a macro dose. So if you have scaly, itchy, pussy rash, and you take Rostox in a homeopathic prepared dose, little small pellet or liquid, and you put underneath your tongue, because the molecular structure is small enough that it can go into the capillaries under the tongue, and it cures the poison ivy. This is Qi medicine. And then Western medicine says it don't work, but Western medicine has been fooled. And what I mean by fooled is not in a negative way. My son, when my older son's 20, and he was 5 years old, he had bleeding of the ears. I saw him messing with his ears. So I put a Q-tip in his ears to dry blood. So I said, okay, he must have an ear infection. Took him to the doctor. The doctor checked his ear, said he has an ear infection. So he wrote a prescription. So we got a homeopathic remedy for the ear. One to put in the ear, one to put on the mouth, because we weren't taking no chances. In a few days or so, he stopped itching his ear. He's 5, so he can get so much out of a 5-year-old. So we took him back to the doctor. The doctor said it's good. That medicine worked well. We never bought his medicine. We never bought it to use it. They have never used prescriptions. My sons have never used prescriptions. I've dealt with COVID without using prescriptions. I use herbs. So I go further than just the movements of Qigong. So for instance, I use homeopathy for a student. When I met this young lady, she lived in the Netherlands. This is all online. She was spotting with her second child. She lost her first child from miscarriage. She was spotting with the second child. I knew the remedy off my head. I'm not a homeopath, but I work with homeopathy. So I knew the remedy off the top of my head. And the remedy is called Sabina, 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 which is, I forget that's the Latin word, but it's for miscarriage or prevention of miscarriage. So she took that remedy. To make a long story short, she made me go apart. And this has been years ago. So, and then I taught her Qigong, and I helped bring up her iron because she was anemic. I brought up her blood pressure because her blood pressure was low. I told her she couldn't do Qigong because I was checking her blood pressure doing Qigong, and her blood pressure was going down. So I told her she couldn't do Qigong because it was lower than 100/60. And she's coming up feeling like she's going to pass out. I said, look, you're pregnant. Your center of gravity is off. You got low blood pressure. You're going to have to sit it out. She didn't like that. She couldn't do the Qigong with her man. And I improved her blood pressure and anemia so well that the doctors commented on it. So not only did I save her from having the miscarriage, the child's like 5 now. In fact, he wants to see me tomorrow because his father said he's been asking for his godfather. I've never met him physically. I need to go to the Netherlands and meet him. But I'm going to have a video conference with him tomorrow because he wants to meet us. He hasn't seen his godfather in a long time. So it's things like that, that, Qigong can only do certain things. Yes, I do admit I've taken headaches from her. She had the flu also. This is before COVID, so she had the flu. And homeopathy took care of that because homeopathy can be taken while pregnant with no side effects. So, and I was taught that through the African society that I am, a Sarasat society. It's one thing to be taught something, and it's one thing to take it and make it yours. Put your stamp on it. My teacher wrote a book on it, taught me Qigong. It was in a health food store that I worked in over 20 years. I helped a lot of people with it that I heard some people saying it's God's medicine. So homeopathy was like, helped a lot of people. I know doctors that took people off of homeopathy and the person had a miscarriage after they went off it because they was told by the doctor, oh, you don't really need that. You're past the time of having a miscarriage. And the woman told me herself, she stopped it on the advice of her doctor. They knew nothing about homeopathy, and she ended up having a miscarriage. And I showed her in the book that you can see different months that it says that you can take it based on having a threatened miscarriage in this particular month or trimester. And, I was telling her, look, I ain't try to brush it, try to make it, pain worse, emotional pain worse, but I'm just trying to show you that it might be not that common, but by the book here, it can happen. And you just happen to fit in that category of having a miscarriage. So yes, homeopathy, I work with that. I've had a lot of success with that. Herbs, pressure points, emitting chi, and some other things outside of emitting chi. Some good stuff.
Sifu, yes, certainly. Sifu. So, what is this Egyptian society called again? Is there like a link? Is there like a website they have that I can do a little bit more research on? Or
Sure, they have a website. The website, I think it's taui.com, TAUI, T as in Tommy, A as in Albert, U as in umbrella, I as in iceberg.com. I believe that, or look up the Asura Set Society. It's AUSAR, AUSET Society, Asura Set Society. It looks like Osar, but there's dots over the A, so they changed the sound of the A, like my name. My name, the dots changed the sound of the A. So, yeah. So, yeah. And my teacher, his name is Ra Nefer, man. His title was Shakam or Shakam, which is really the name that they gave to the kings that sat on the thrones. The people think it's Pharaoh, but we have to look at, well, who's bringing you that information? But that's a whole nother thing. I don't want to get into much into that. But he's the leading author on African spirituality, especially coming out of ancient Egypt. So his books are up there. His works are up there. If you go on YouTube, you put in Ra Nefer Amen, R-A. It's one word, U-N's another word, Nefer, and last name is A-M-E-N, Amen, A-M-E-N. You type that name in YouTube and you see videos come up of him giving lectures about books and about topics. And even about his 11 laws, like a corresponding course to do, tapping into your divinity. Because the Asura Set Society and the ancient Egyptians, the Kamal, didn't worship God. They looked into cultivating their divinity. When ancient Egypt was in the Iron Age, the rest of the world was in the Stone Age. So they were always ahead of people. To me, that's one of the reasons why they were invaded so much. And then when you look at ancient Egypt and you look at certain times, you have to look at the certain times that you're looking at, because you could be looking at invader influence. But they cultivated their divinity. So, like I said, the rest of the world was in the Stone Age. Just think of it. When other people had stone tools, the ancient Egyptians, the Kamal, had, they had an iron hammer. These people had stone hammers, and these people had iron hammers. So what was their society like? And, so they were into cultivating their divinity, resurrecting that part of their being. And some people have a problem with that. That's cool. That's no problem. That's cool. But I'm just telling you what they were about and what we're about, because we practice that culture. So you'll see all those books dealing with that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that explanation. Sifu, so what is your goal in your spiritual journey? What is your ultimate goal? Is it to become like an enlightened being, or is it just to spread consciousness throughout the world? Like, what is your ultimate goal?
Yeah, that'll be my ultimate goal, to become an enlightened being. I mean, my name reflects that, if you want to say, because your every sound is a vibration. The ones that you don't, the ones you hear with your human ear, and the ones you don't hear. You know, like you hear the ambulance, but before you hear the ambulance, the dog's howling. Like, why is the dog howling? Then you hear the ambulance. Or they have machines that can pick up certain sounds that the human ear can't pick up. So I'm saying that our ears deal with vibration. The brain interprets it as sound, you know, or words, put it that way. So when you call me my name, Åmmuåakhu, there's a certain vibration that the name means he is a patient and submissive follower of the enlightened ones. You talk about enlightened beings. So it helps me to realize my divinity, my, you know, to become enlightened. So all my Qigong is based around that. My whole life is based around that, even emitting Qi to people, getting rid of headaches, getting rid of pain, getting rid of this, getting that. Yeah, everything is based, or should be based
Awesome.
on that.
Awesome. Thank you for that explanation. Sifu, last question for you. There's a lot of people probably watching this, you know, just starting their spiritual journey, they're embarking on a spiritual journey. What would be your advice to people that are just starting out?
Well, it's good that you have a rapport with the person that's teaching you. You know, there has to be, and when I mean a rapport, I don't mean that you have to come close with them. There should be some type of, you know, I just want to hear this gentleman. I just can't wait to see my teacher today so I can learn this. You know, it shouldn't, and this might sound funny, but it shouldn't be like, oh, him. You know, it shouldn't be like, I'm going to go to class today. Do I have to deal with that energy? It shouldn't be like that. If you're dealing with somebody like that, that's not the teacher for you. And I'm not saying it's the teacher. And I'm not saying it's you. It's the relationship between you and the teacher. It's the interaction. How you respond to that is a whole nother thing. It's your response. He might be like, okay, he's not the teacher for me. We just don't gel, you know, opposed to, you know. So all my teachers I have in my life, I had to form rapport. It's going as far as me listening to people. Okay, I can't deal with that way the person sounds. You know, person talk nasally. That wasn't for me. Some other people it might be. You know, I know a lady that dealt with Chinese, and her thing was Chinese don't answer questions. They don't like taking questions. For, you know, maybe the traditional hardcore Chinese Qigong teachers. So she became a student of my teacher who answers questions. You just do what you're told and you do it. Okay, that might be the Chinese way. Cool. Some people might get along with that. Some people don't. But the rapport to me is a very important thing. Once you find that, then you try to find out how full is this system. Does the system have everything, you know? Is it like my way or the highway? You know? It doesn't have meditation. Does it have pressure points? Does it have other things, or is it strictly Qigong? Maybe you just want strictly, maybe you don't want the rest, but you get involved in that anyway. Okay, I don't want the breathing. I just want the movements with the Qigong. You know, so Blue Dragon has pressure points. It has breathing. It has a dance Qigong with music. It looks like R&B, African drumming type of Qigong, and it has just traditional, slow-moving Qigong. The Qigong, one of our Qigongs, the one that has the African music with it, looks like Zumba, but it's Qigong because what the movements do. Explain what the movements do. For instance, if I do the Harlem Shake, I'm practicing Qigong. People are like, that's Qigong? Yes, because I'm opening up my chest. I'm exercising my lungs, my shoulders. There's all hook to that. My back, my upper back, my shoulder blades. So this whole movement, that whole movement there, you're opening up your lungs. You're opening up your chest, your breast. You're having the whole effect of chi and blood moving in and out of the whole just by doing that. So people don't know when they're doing the Harlem Shake what it's doing, but when you incorporate it in Qigong and other movements, then so yeah, Blue Dragon, we call it blue Qigong dance, Blue Dragon dance, or Blue Dragon Qigong dance. And then we have our traditional Blue Dragon forms that work on the 41 meridians within your body. So yeah, so it's good if a person has that, and it's good that a person has a system that also deals with emitting chi, because there are masters that have the Qigong masters that think emitting chi is garbage. They don't believe in it, or they don't know anything about it. I'm seeing guys that have schools, students, and say rubbish. And I know the gentleman that's doing it, and I know it works because I do it. I've had people. One time I had a young elderly lady. I was walking through a parking lot, and a woman, I overheard a conversation about her shoulder. And I said, excuse me, I didn't mean to, eavesdrop on your conversation, but I overheard you say you have a problem with your shoulder. She said, yes. The lady didn't know me. So I said to her, I didn't want to touch her. She don't know me. So I said, look, I can get rid of your pain without touching you. She said, So I used my eyes. I didn't use my hands because I wanted to be nobody looking at me. If I went like this, people are like, what's that guy doing? So I used my eyes. And when I thought it was about a minute, I told her, look check it out. I said, I'm finished. Your pain going? She laughed. He thinks he got rid of my pain. I said, did you check? When she checked, this was her expression. I said, have a good day. That's my gift to you. I walked away. So things like that, we have exercise in Blue Dragon for the eyes. We have exercise in Blue Dragon for the hands with the chi, that we use. There are techniques I had done with meditation that I had a gentleman online, and I did Qigong I did things with needles, and it wasn't a physical needle. It's a chi needle. You can't see it. I can't see it. But it's a needle of chi that I made with my hand. Energy flowing through my fingers. And I just went like this, like I brought it out of the air, and I put it in this guy's in the triple warmer point, like triple warmer 5. You want to see a guy move his hand real quick, like he got pricked? Took about 10 seconds. He moved his hand, and I asked him. He said, I felt the prick, bro. So, I've also told him, I'll make the chi go between his forehead while not looking at him, looking the opposite way. Tell me when you feel it. And he was like, oh, I felt it. Because what I do, I will create an image of him. and project chi to it. Nobody taught me that. Well, yeah, somebody taught me that. I don't have to use a picture. My teachers taught me, but I took it a step further in terms of projecting chi to it. I've worked on cancer patients in New York while they were asleep, and they were nowhere near me. I didn't see them. I didn't have no picture of them. I know what they looked like, so that picture was here. And you can superimpose a picture of anybody. If you looked at John Chang if you looked at John Chang on there, you know what he looks like. You ain't gotta look at him anymore. You know what your mother, your father looks like. You ain't gotta look at them. You know what they look like. So if I have a picture of somebody, I worked on that gentleman. He passed. He didn't do his part, but he told me when he woke up, he felt like he didn't have cancer. I've became another person. I won't go too much into detail with that one, but I had a gentleman online on Facebook who practiced a healing art, who had an illness with his stomach, and I was projecting chi true to him on Facebook. I didn't have no picture. He weren't on video. I was talking to him. I was projecting chi to him through Facebook while texting on not even on Messenger, on regular text, right on Facebook, on a group page. And he said, yeah, pain went, come back. He had like stomach distress in his stomach for weeks or so days. So I asked him his symptoms. So what I did, I went into a meditative state and I saw me as him. He's a different race from me. He's a white man, white American. He lived in America. I'm in Bermuda. So I saw me as him. I took the homeopathic remedy that fit his symptoms. I took it, but it weren't really me that took it. You understand? Because the next day when I spoke to him, he said to me, what did you do? Because I don't have this pain no more. It's gone. I said, oh, it's ancient African secret.
Yeah, that's really
so
awesome.
This is the power of chi. This is power,
Yeah. Well, Sifu, you certainly have a
but it's good.
I was you certainly have a wonderful personality, and have countless amazing stories like that. And thank you for sharing them with me. I mean, it's just really you're a very fascinating guy. You're one of the most interesting people that I've definitely interviewed. So I'm excited to publish this and stuff like that. So thank you for doing this interview with me today. So I will put Sifu's TikTok page in the description below, and in his Facebook page as well. So thank you so much once again for this interview. This was very, very just so many interesting stories, and and the iron crotch thing was just so fascinating to watch. So thank you so much for that. So
I have a Facebook page. So anybody, me on Facebook. So anybody wants to contact me. Well, TikTok, but people that are on Facebook, they contact me through Facebook too. So you can share those details if you choose. But thank you for having me. I don't think I ever got your name. Was it Ken? Is it say Ken there?
Yeah, it's Ken. Yeah.
Yeah.